Alright guys, I am going to show you the truth about the LA fires and the evidence. You're going to love this. Alright guys, when you hear people say, oh, the LA fires was a directed energy attack and they're controlling the weather and the government's doing this, let me show you why people think that. When you look at these pictures on the screen, at first glance, you may think, wow, look at the fires in LA. But this isn't the fires. This is Ukraine devastation. Now the fires do look like this, which is why I brought this up, because a lot of this devastation, I mean, the fires in LA look worse than this. But I want to go through the history of these fires. The first time we saw these was back in Paradise, California, which I believe is in Northern California. And this wasn't too long ago, but this is when people had a suspicion that they were using directed energy weapons, because during this fire, people caught things that didn't make sense, such as a tree which was burning molten lava from the inside out. Now that would be impossible for that to ever happen, because in physics, when something heats up and gets so hot, it does spontaneous combustion. That's heated from the outside. So you could never have molten lava from heat coming from the outside. It would have to be a microwave, which heats all the water molecules from the inside. And you know, that's how that works. So let me show you a video of exactly what I'm talking about, of this tree. Okay, watch this. Okay, so that is something that should never happen. The suspicion started there, and I mean, these are the Paradise Fire pictures. Look at this. This looks like Ukraine, like weapons of mass destruction. I mean, it just, all the homes are gone. All the trees are still there. That's what really doesn't make sense. So that's the first fires. Now, we then had the fires in Maui, which, again, look at these pictures. They look like this. Weapons of mass destruction. So you have to believe that something odd is going on here when you see these photos of these fires. They look like war zones. Look at this. Look at Maui, and now let's look at Ukraine. They all look identical too. I mean, all of these guys. Here's Paradise, here's Maui, and now let's take a look at LA. Again, these all look like a war zone. They all look the same. So, let's get into the evidence we have with some of this stuff. A lot of you may not know, but Donald Trump's uncle, John Trump, okay, let me say that again. Donald Trump, who's going to be the president, his uncle was a part of the confiscation of Nikola Tesla's files that had the death ray. And you just can't make this stuff up. I'll put all the links in the description, but this is what kind of explains the story here. So it goes through and explains how on the death of, or on the day or the morning of the inventor's death, which was Nikola Tesla, the FBI came and confiscated his secret documents that he had on the death ray. Well, they came out and got John Trump, who's Donald Trump's uncle. He was an electrical engineer working for National Defense Research, and he came out and said, you know, there wasn't really anything to see here. That's very interesting, because the copies of Tesla's papers disappeared and nobody knows what happened to them. You know, John Trump and that magic, right? Just disappeared. So this is where it gets interesting, because the United States wanted to be able to create a death ray weapon. And who worked on the beam weapons? No other than DARPA. So they're the ones who kind of got involved in the beginning of all this stuff. And so what they ended up doing was creating a project called Project Nick, which was just after World War II, and it was copies of Tesla's papers on particle beam weaponry. And so this is where the beginning of the death ray and directed energy weapons begins. And so what I'm going to show you now is the most amazing thing. This is the US patent for the solar-powered space weapon. And so you may not be aware of this, but let's take a look at it so you can understand what this thing can be used for, and how it could have possibly been used in America. And that's what it kind of looks like. You can go through. I'll put all this in the description so you can investigate it yourself and take a deeper look. But you can see, you know, this is the sun, and what it does is it hits these things, these death ray beams. They literally take the sun and use that and convert it into directed energy microwaves. And they can do it anywhere at a pinpoint location. So this is just an illustration showing you, hey, here's the sun, here's what the device looks like down here, and then it will pinpoint a location and rock the target. So let's take a look here. Oh, this one's good. I have to rotate this. Okay, so here's your sun. Hits our death ray weapon, and then look, it beams down, and look, everything's on fire. Amazing how that works. More illustration. Okay, let's get down to where it describes what this thing is. The main aspect of the present invention is to disperse an enormous orbiting power generator array of cells, such that it is not possible to obtain and destroy all the power generating cells. Another aspect of this present invention is to continuously communicate location data among the cells so that a rapid rendezvous of multiple cells could be set up anywhere over the Earth. Another aspect of the present invention is to produce an ICBM energy collector such as a microwave or a laser concentrator. This ICBM is called a Death Star. So that is exactly what Nikola Tesla was working on, and John Trump stole it. And so this is what it is. Another aspect of this present invention is to continuously move a plurality of Death Stars all around the Earth, ready to launch. Another aspect of this present invention is to coordinate the launch of a Death Star and a rendezvous of several power generating cells rapidly. Another aspect of this present invention is to combine the discharging of multiple cells into the Death Star and create a non-nuclear weapon of mass destruction. Now that is the most important part. We're going to read that again, because when I look at these pictures, when I look at this stuff, this looks exactly like what they're talking about. Let's read that again. Another aspect of the present invention is to combine the discharging of multiple cells into the Death Star and create a non-nuclear weapon of mass destruction. This generates a microwave beam at a pinpoint location wherever they want, anywhere in the world, and nobody would ever know it. Let's keep reading. Another aspect of this present invention is to direct several cells' microwave energy onto a target. Thus, the heat can be turned up gradually. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. It is literally telling you it can give you a death ray beam, which it can just gradually turn the heat up to the point where you just burn from the inside out. So those are just the most important aspects of this document. But this is the entire patent. I'll put it down in the description for you, and this is very relevant, I believe. Also, when people talk about how they control the weather, they could easily use these death beams, these death rays that they've got, and combination with wind patents, which I've got all of them right here. You can document these and look at these as well. These are very important for ammunition when you try to share these with friends and family who don't believe you or call you a conspiracy theorist. These literally, I mean, look at this one. Hurricane and tornado control device. I mean, imagine that. We just had the hurricane that took out Florida or North Carolina, and then you find out that they can just control this stuff. So that is going to be very important, and it's all very interesting stuff. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is a interview of somebody who has testimony of living through the first fires in Paradise, and ever since then she has investigated this and has tracked and followed the enemy, and everything she has to say is very relevant. So you are absolutely going to love this interview.
Deborah Tavares with us tonight on Ground Zero. I'm going to go to Carlos, calling from California tonight. Carlos, you're on with Deborah. Go ahead.
Debbie, thanks, Clyde, for having Debbie here. Debbie, my original theory is similar to yours. I was thinking that they use weather manipulation to create the dryness here because it hasn't rained here in quite a few months.
9 months.
And then they use weather manipulation again to create the highly inordinate high winds that are manifesting to spread the fires. And, of course, I thought there's also people that are setting the fires, and they're probably paid professionals by the Illuminati. So
Absolutely.
That was my theory. But also, there were some items that were exempt from the fires, like trees.
Let's talk about that, Carlos. You bring up a number of excellent points. You are correct, because we need to understand that the microbursts create the wind, and they're electronic radio weapon crimes. And they do cause tornado-like high winds and the wind gusts that we've been seeing. And here's a patent number for that. It's U.S. patent 7629918. And they create artificially spawned, precision-targeted microburst vortex created by scalar electromagnetic weapon systems mounted on cell towers everywhere. And they do create the wind. And yes, this is all being caused and created for many reasons, not only just real estate grabs, but to certainly impoverish America, to literally destroy America as we've known it. This is what is happening, Carlos, now.
Carlos, I want to ask Deborah a question, too, while you're on, because I something happened last night when I was doing another show, and I want to tell you about it, Deborah, and I want to ask you directly about this. Okay, so I was watching Fox News last night. They were panning over the areas where the fires were. They got close-ups of the fires. They got all kinds of things going on with the fires. And I'm going to tell you this, and don't think I'm crazy. I saw, and I had someone send me a picture as well, I saw entities in the fire, or I saw something in the fire, that, or like people in the fire, or I don't even know how to describe it. There was one thing I saw that looked like something like a glob or a blob in the fire, but I was like thinking to myself, am I imagining this? And then someone had said that there was some, I guess, Islamic groups there that had to flee, and they were claiming that they were jinn. Actually, ifrit is what they called it. They're jinn that caused the fires. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think, again, there are many variables in play now. Certainly, it's all very destructive and evil. There's no question about that. But we have to understand what directed energy weapons are doing to us all over the world, and with the fires. I've lived in fires here. I've done criminal crime scene investigations where black helicopters fly over us and black cars drive to see what we are doing. And I've been reporting on these types of issues for years through the fires here. And so we're going to have all kinds of distraction and theories when, in fact, we have to understand what directed energy weapons are doing. And they are devices that direct a beam of high energy content towards a target for incapacitating or destroying the target or targets. And the high energy beam being laser beam causing structural damage to the targets. Now, Clyde, I need to add this in because what is happening is they're heating up all metal. In our crime scene investigations, guardrails that were lagged on with bolts to wood posts, the wood posts were burned because the metal heated up. Now, I want everybody to be thinking about what I'm going to say right now, and it is horrible, but we have to think about this. We must. How are our houses built? With nails and hold downs and rebar. That all heats up. All heats up. We are in trouble. We are in massive trouble here. And we can look at many patents that talk about the use of directed energy weapons. And I want to throw this out right now. I'm not leaving the conversation of fires, but I'm leaving the conversation of, or I'm leading into the conversation that everyone needs to look up because I just discovered this. It's called sun surveillance, S-U-N, surveillance.
Yep.
These are being deployed by the thousands all over the country. And there's a lawsuit being put forth by a team of bar card-carrying Rothschild agents. Do not sign up for this ludicrous lawsuit because these are rolling over us right now. What do? Well, I'll tell you. You notice a roughly a 4x4 foundation being poured and then about a 10-foot high metal post going up with a cell phone or with a solar panels at the top with a camera. Now, you can add things to this. You can use the blue lights to cause passerbyers to have heart attacks and strokes.
Yeah.
All of this is considered for our safety, for road impairments, such as when they cause the floods and they cause the landslides and everything else that is being done to us. They're telling it's for our safety. This is all controlled by AI. It goes into police, fire, and sheriff departments, but it's all hackable. It also can remotely administer medications to people, which we know is just around the corner and being done now.